Hello there, hello there, hello there everybody. How the devil are we all? I am very well. Thank you for asking. Although I am very red because I've forgotten to configure the fucking video again. You dopey cunt. See how red I can go. Look at that. Oh, hello. Let's see how white I can go. That's blue. Ooh. Okay, let's make me look vaguely human, shall we? That's about right, I reckon. Okie doke. Could have done that off air. That was very much an off air situation, wasn't it? Tough fucking shit. You get what you get. Anyway. How are we all? Are we well? I do hope you are. I know I say that every time, and like I can't know if you're okay, because you don't open up to me. The fuck am I talking about? Anyway, it's been very hot here.
Get the fuck, Nick, I'm not playing with all these mutants.
Thank you, Mad Cat Scotty Eye. Everyone go and follow Mad Cat Scotty Eye or
Stop it. Get some help.
What name do they go by on YouTube again? Oh, I've lost the fucking will to live. I've forgotten. Dave. They go by Dave. Fuck it. Go and follow Dave on YouTube. Who's a cool Scottish person who presumably is also sweating buckets like I am. Katie Marshall. There we go. I don't fucking know. I barely know what fucking day of the week it is. Fucking hell. Anyway, hello there, everybody. Good God, is it hot and sweaty today? Thank you to Tess MV. Hello, Tess MV from the YouTube, as you've informed me there. Much love to you. It is not Thursday, Lord Fritos. I will stab you up, you French fucking Europeanoid. Euroid? I don't know. Nah, I'm only playing. It's no. What day is it? It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Over the Historian, as well. I mean, just for existing, frankly, but also for 52 months of subscription to the channel. Are you the longest serving? And I say serving, I mean suffering. Really, but yes, thank you. It's not Wednesday. Stop saying wrong days, you bastards. It's confusing and annoying. And I'm already confused and annoyed at my own existence, so just fucking chill. I'm sad it's too hot. Even my cat has been yelling at me from my bedroom door to see if I'm alive. Well, yes. Yeah. I had a cat yelling at me today. I might upload that to the YouTubes at some point. Next door's cat that bullies me in the morning for nibbles. And I give in every day. It's not even my fucking cat and I'm being bullied. Unbelievable. Yes, so if you wanted to help me out, and by howdy do I need that help, you can do so in the various ways. You can hit the follow button if you're on Twitch, twitch.tv/KFLogan1875, because my branding game is shocking. That needs to move there, doesn't it? Yes, you can do that. You can hit the follow button. You can subscribe. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime. You can give subs to the community. You can do bits messages. 200 bits or more gets you a text-to-speech. You can do super chats via the Streamlabs link below. $2 or more, that gets you a text-to-speech. You can help me out on Patreon and or PayPal. You've got there's a Discord you can go and check out. I've got YouTube, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Threads. There's probably other things I always fucking forget. Or your YouTubes, you massive legends. How are we all? You can subscribe for nothing on YouTube. It's free. That's how that works. You can thumb the video up. You can hit the bell icon so that you might get notified if I go live or something. I don't fucking know. You can become a member for 99 pence. You can gift memberships at that exact same price to the community. And you can do super chats, which I'll read out, especially if they're enormously racist. I mean, I'll probably argue with you. I'm not saying I'll read it out and be like, yeah, no, I agree with your racist comment. But I probably will read it and say, like, that's bad. You shouldn't be racist. Racism.
Like a baby otter.
A hot take, but racism, not cool. Not a good meme. Anyway. Oh, I'm sweaty. I don't know if you can hear my mouse. Mouse? That's not the fucking word, you cunt. Fan. I don't know if you can hear the fan. Sorry, I've got vermin on the brain. It's a brummy thing, you know. I subbed you on Twitch. Well, thank you, Andrina Websdale. Much love to you. Anyway, where was I? Yes, so we're going to be talking tonight, unsurprisingly, about the fact that we might be going into World War III or something, because that's a thing that's been on my mind. I don't know if you've focused on it at all, but there does appear to be lots of missiles going off and things. It's been very strange. Actually, it's not strange at all. It's the Middle East. It's what happens, unfortunately, when imperialism takes hold. So you know, that's what happens there, unfortunately. World War woke, absolutely. Anyway, so I mean, I don't know if you've been watching Donald Trump sort of morph into George W. Bush over the last couple of days. The anti-war candidate, we were told by Jimmy Dore, if you remember. Yeah, definitely. Trump is definitely the anti-war candidate, completely and utterly. Yeah. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. How's he an easy target then, you daft bastard? We are not going to take him out, brackets, kill, with an exclamation point in the bracket. At least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians, or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. You're not doing an announcement on a rail station. You're talking about potentially World War III, you cunt. Thank you for paying your attention to this matter. I'm sorry, announcing World War III is not like, sending a rounder email to the entire HR team to make sure everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet. It's almost impossible to imagine that an American president wrote this. And yeah, I mean, clearly the fact that there are no spelling mistakes means he didn't write it, but he dictated that shit. And then, unconditional surrender. Which, I don't know if that's an offer that he's putting out there to the Iranians, because of course he always chickens out, so it might be, who knows. Or it might be his terms are unconditional surrender. Which, America, please, I'm begging you. This has held you back for 150 years now. Please stop trying to be Ulysses S. Grant. You are not him. Every fucking wanker and his son has tried desperately to get the big dick energy of Ulysses S. Grant. For those who don't know, the phrase unconditional surrender has been a cancerous tumour, eating away America's ability to do defence and indeed offence, frankly. Ulysses S. Grant, during the American Civil War, was taking a thing called Fort Donaldson on the something river. Who gives a fuck? Anyway, when asked what his terms were for surrender, he said, nothing but unconditional surrender. And so that's what U.S. Grant came to be known as. That was sort of his nickname, was Unconditional Surrender Grant. Big dick energy. We don't even fucking negotiate with cunts. You surrender unconditionally, or I'm burning your fucking city down. Type shit, right? It's like the ultimate Chad vibe. And ever since then, Americans have tried to do it. But the thing is, in the vast majority of situations, the concept of unconditional surrender is actually a phenomenally stupid approach to the situation. We saw Eisenhower and various others during the Second World War try this shit. And the thing is, whilst unconditional surrender can be your ultimate goal, what you shouldn't do is put it out there. Because the problem with that is you leave your opponents no ability to back out of the situation. You galvanise them to fight more viciously than they were before because they've got nothing to lose. Because either way, they're fucked. So why would they surrender? You're not offering them any advantage to them to surrender. So even if you're not going to give them advantage in surrendering, even if you're going to do the Russian thing where you'll say, like, oh, we'll take care of you, and then you starve them to death in a fucking gulag or whatever, right? You have to hold out, like, an olive branch of, here's the reason you should surrender. Here's the advantage that will accrue to you by surrendering. If you just say unconditional surrender, there's no point in surrendering. Because you're fucked either way. It's very, very stupid. It undoubtedly galvanised to some extent the ferocity with which the Nazis defended towards the end of the Second World War, because they knew there was no advantage in not doing so. It was a figly or a plausible reason that the Nazis gave to the civilians to carry on. You've got to carry on fighting because the unconditional surrender, right? They'll take everything from you. And they also held out the Morgenthau plan, which was a very stupid plan to make Germany into an agrarian society. And all of this. Completely de-arm it and, you know, defang it and all the rest of it. Which is a very stupid plan. And very illegal, but never mind. Very undemocratic as well. But either way, that's the thing. And they've all tried it. And now Trump's trying this shit. And again, like, Iran's not in a situation where it needs to do anything. Like, it's cool for now. You saying unconditional surrender is stupid. Tactically, legally, morally, it's very stupid. He also put, we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. No evidence for that. Iran has good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it. But it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived and manufactured stuff, in quotation marks. The word stuff is in quotation marks. Yeah, because that's the technical term there. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. Well, I'm sure they're going to take that very seriously. Did you see this Ronaldo free kick against Israel? Oh, it's mad. Boom. Finish. Anyway, so that was what happened there. Now, getting on to the G7. We'll get back to Iran and all of that shit in a second. But there was a little meeting between the G7 leaders in Canada, of all places. I don't know who let Canada in the club. Seems a reckless admissions policy at the best. And the British Prime Minister, who is the slightly odd-looking chap on the right there, and Donald Trump, the even odder-looking chap on the left there, who is the President of the United States. If you've just woken up from a coma from 1993, yes, he really is the President. Again. And the banter was not top class.
We're very long-time partners and allies and friends, and we become friends in a short period of time. He's slightly more liberal than I am, to put it mildly.
We're standing slightly on the left.
But for some reason we get along.
We make it work.
Yeah, he's found the one world leader he is to the left of. Well done. Well done, Keith. Now, the big thing that will be taken away from this, I think, on the world stage, will be the Giorgia Meloni eye roll thing, which is kind of funny, but she's a fascist, so who cares? But from a British perspective, it's going to be this thing, right? So, at each one of these events, just to sort of lift the curtain for everybody, at each one of these events, each world leader has to get like a kind of token concession out of some other leader. So each person, like the American president, has to pretend to have given in some way to one of these to the world leaders, right? So you'll sign an accord with the French president so that they get to have a photo opportunity and like, oh, see, I'm awesome. It's for domestic consumption for the people back home, right? It's all of that shit. And the British, we've been wanting a trade deal. So what not Biden, what Trump did for Starmer was to sign a thing which sort of formalised part of the agreement that was already in place for the reduction, kind of, a little bit, of the tariffs. Do you remember the deal from a month ago? Basically, they just sort of firmed up some of that. It's really nothing, and God knows what he did bending over backwards to get that particular piece of paper signed by Trump. But Trump is such a fucking bumpkin, such a loser, that this happened.
The UK, and we just signed a document. This is sorry about that. This is it.
A very important document.
And then he scrabbles around on the floor to pick it up. Now, I'm in two minds with this, right? Firstly, like, it's probably just the kind of polite thing to do to pick it up. Like, you're stood next to a very elderly man who, let's be honest, if he tries to bend over to pick those papers up, is definitely going to shit himself. There's no way. That diaper that he's wearing, that fucking... That child's nappy that he's got on is going to be filled with liquid slurry. Okay? So he just, he does the polite thing of bending down to pick up the papers, right? That in of itself isn't the end of the world, right? But it does lead to the image, doesn't it? Where is it? Hang on, there's a still version of the image somewhere around here. There we go. Of just like, oh, the optics on it are so bad. The optics on it are so bad. You're literally scrabbling around at the feet of the American president. Like, that's what we've been saying British Prime Ministers have been doing for like decades now. And you literally did it. Not only did you metaphorically do it, not only did you politically do it, you physically actually did it. You bent over and scrabbled around at his feet to clean up something that he fucked up. It doesn't look good, man. Like, I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, you have to be big bravado macho man on the world stage. You have to stride across the stage and be fucking big, oh, I've got a massive cock. Like, you don't have to be that person. But could you try not to make us look this shit? Literally, like, rummaging around on the floor. Do they not have an aide that can come and pick up that paper? Why have you got to fucking pick it up? Like, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, I agree. But it kind of does. It kind of does. Like, it just looks a bit shit, really, doesn't it? No one thinks this looks dignified. And the thing is, it goes beyond that, right? Because it's not just that he went and scrabbled around on the floor picking the paper up, whatever. It's not the end of the world. It's what happened after that.
A document. This is sorry about that. This is it.
A very important document.
A little windy out here. Give me that. We just signed it, and it's done. And so we have our trade agreement with the European Union, and it's a fair deal for both.
And for those who didn't pick that up on that, he didn't say we've done our trade agreement with the UK, which would be correct, albeit still something of a lie, but the country he is referring to is the United Kingdom. We have done this important trade deal that I just dropped on the fucking floor with the United Kingdom. What he said, though, is we've done our trade deal with the European Union, which is an entity that isn't a sovereign nation. It isn't one nation at all. And, rather famously, we just fucking left. We just left the European Union. We're not even in it. It's not even like you can say he's partly correct because we are a European Union nation, because we aren't anymore. Rather stupidly, we decided to leave. And even Keir Starmer doesn't go, sorry, you mean the United Kingdom there, didn't you? Like, you've got to correct him. Now, I understand that by correcting him, he'll probably nuke us or something, but you've got to have a backbone here. You've got to have a fucking backbone and say, no, you meant the UK, right? Like, not only have you just dropped it on the floor and made me scrabble around, like the weird little freak goblin fucking schmeagle bitch that I am, right? But you could at least get the fucking country right. At least pretend that you know what this is. Pretend you know what my name is. Pretend you know what the name of my fucking country is. Say it properly, you orange cunt. And if he nukes us, he nukes us. Fuck it. The world's about to end with the bombing of Iran anyway, so, like, who gives a fuck at this point? Go out in style, I reckon. Embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. And then it gets even worse, because in order just to make it crystal clear how pathetically reliant we are on the United States, so we've seen him literally, like, scrabbling around at his feet. And now we'll see him just standing there and accepting this shit.
The UK is very well protected. You know why? Because I like them. That's why. That's their ultimate protection. Thank you very much.
So, in case you didn't pick that up, he says, the UK is very well protected. You know why? Because I like them. That's why. That's the ultimate protection. So, we are tacitly by accepting here, because Keir Starmer doesn't say anything here. Keir Starmer doesn't push back on this in any way whatsoever. He doesn't go, no, actually, we're a nuclear-armed nation. We can take care of ourselves, thank you very much. We're about to get planes with nukes as well, because that's a thing we fucking need, right? No, he just goes, no, you're in a protection racket, and because of my personal say-so, you're fine. Imagine that. We have to rely for our safety on the whims of one of the most skittish people ever. He's like a fucking pigeon mixed with a horse, this man. He sees his shadow, he fucking changes course completely and freaks out. So because he likes us, because our leader literally scrabbles around at his feet and then looks up into his eyes and goes, does that please Daddy? Does that please him? Thank you. Thank you, sir. And then Trump spits in his mouth. It's disgusting. Like, it's just tacit that we're as a nation, we're scrabbling around at his feet. As a nation, we are bent over, picking up the flecks of shit that drop from him. This is what it's come to. This is how blatant it is. They're not even fucking pretending. They're not even hiding this. No, you rely on America. Fuck you. Just genuinely embarrassing. Genuinely embarrassing. And in case you were wondering how it's going in terms of the British media's approach to this, hang on, where are we? Here we go. The BBC, one of the foremost news-gathering organisations on earth, the national broadcaster of the United Kingdom, not the European Union, Trump, the United Kingdom. Say it, you prick. Right? Put this out today. Israel's smaller, sophisticated military opposes larger Iran. How do you sleep at night when you write this kind of shit? What's the name of the person that wrote this? Screed. Jonathan Beale, the defence correspondent. How do you feel, Jonathan? How do you sleep at night, mate? Doing this kind of blatant war propaganda. You fucking mad cunt. Yeah, you know Israel, that tiny country with nuclear weapons that's backed by the biggest military juggernaut in the history of the world. Against Iran, a country that has been sanctioned so hard that its civil aviation has planes falling out of the sky for want of parts. But Israel's a little bean. And that big nasty Iran, which definitely started it, and we should feel sorry, and you should go and get your legs blown off for Benjamin Netanyahu. This is I have to pay for this. I have to fucking pay through the licence fee for this journalism to take place. No, I know it's not the journalist in question that writes the headline, but trust me, I've read the article. The headline is not massively out of whack with the general theme of the piece. Fucking atrocious. Anyway, so, as I predicted on the weekend, there was always going to have to be some debate in Parliament about this, whether it was an urgent question or, actually, as it turned out, the better thing, which is a ministerial statement. Albeit, it's obviously a ministerial statement from the British Foreign Secretary, David Cunting Lammy. Brilliant! So, good to see that the premier foreign policy issue of our day has had Parliament about a third full. Good to see they really care. It's good to see that the mother of all parliaments really gives a fuck. About a third of them turned up. Oh. By the way, there may be ads on this because I tried to buy YouTube Premium, but it wouldn't even take my money. I couldn't get it to work. Also, Mark Francois looks even weirder when he's hunched over. What a little goblin.
With permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, I will remind the House that the Foreign Office has been responding to two crises this past week. My honourable friend, Minister Faulkner, will update the government's extensive effort to assist those whose loved ones lost their lives in Thursday's devastating Air India plane crash. You know, just 9 days ago, Madam Deputy Speaker, I was in Delhi, strengthening our friendship. Our nations are mourning together, and my thoughts are with those.
Yep, there's not a fascist government on earth can't buy him.
Suffering such terrible loss. With permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, I will now turn.
Is the BBC fee compulsory? Technically, no. Technically, no. If you can prove that you don't take part in any BBC-related content, you can get away with not paying it. But if you can't, and you own literally any form of communication that can access the BBC, so that would be a telephone, not telephone, a mobile telephone with like internet capabilities, a computer, a laptop, a tablet, any of these things, then you have to pay the TV license, yes. Technically, it's not absolutely compulsory, but sorry, anything that's live, yeah. So, yeah, in theory, it's not compulsory, but pretty much it is. Like in practicality, virtually everyone has to. Do I need a license fee for radio, Kev? I believe you do, yes.
To the Middle East. Early last Friday morning, Israel launched extensive strikes across Iran, targets including military sites, including the uranium enrichment facility at Natanz, and key commanders and nuclear scientists. The last 72 hours has seen Iranian ballistic missiles and drone strikes across Israel, killing at least 21 Israelis.
Okay, how many Iranians were killed? Because you mentioned the bombing of Iran, but you didn't mention how many people were killed. It's almost as if you see one set of people as human and the other not. David.
And injuring hundreds more. And Israeli strikes have continued, including on targets in Tehran, with the Iranian authorities reporting scores of civilian casualties.
Oh, the Iranian authorities are saying that. Oh, well, we don't need to believe them then, clearly. It's interesting that, isn't it? It's always the Iranian authorities said X, or the Hamas-run health authority. It's never the Likud-run health authority, is it? That never gets like it's no. That's impartial. We can believe that completely.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has said his operations will continue for as many days as it takes to remove the threat.
Right, but he's a lying cunt. Why are you quoting him as if that means anything?
Supreme Leader Khamenei has said Israel must expect severe punishment.
Okay.
Madam Deputy Speaker, in such crisis, our first priority is the welfare, of course, of British nationals. On Friday...
Really? Are you sure about that? Because when the Israeli government killed British nationals, your government not only didn't do anything about it, it actively colluded with the Israeli government in covering up their murder. David.
Friday, we swiftly stood up a crisis team in London and the region, and yesterday I announced that we now advise against all travel to Israel, as well as our long-standing travel advice of not travelling to Iran. Madam Deputy Speaker,
Well,
today...
it's interesting that you mentioned travelling to Israel, but what about travelling away from Israel? Because it does appear that, as I pointed out at the start of this, there will be a mass exodus of people. Following Netanyahu's decision to ban Israelis from flying abroad, Haaretz, that's the Israeli newspaper, reported that settlers are fleeing towards Cyprus with the help of small yachts and vessels. Stop the boats! Stop the boats! Stop the boats! You little fuckers, eh? Oh, you very much enjoyed the fucking around stage, didn't you? The finding out stage, you're not enjoying quite so much, are you pricks? When are they going to stop these small boat crossings? It's outrageous. Kev, how many nukes does Israel have? Well, NYC guy, I'd love to be able to tell you that, but we don't officially know because they've never allowed a single International Atomic Energy Agency investigator into any of their sites or revealed any of their information whatsoever. They've broken the law consistently every day for the past 50 years. It's very bad. It's very bad. It's fucking appalling. So we don't know exactly, but it's probably in the hundreds, we think. But who knows? Oh, why would a store even doing an RNLI thing in a part of the world that the RNLI doesn't even operate in? But I appreciate that nonetheless, because you should give money to the Royal National Lifeboat Institute, because even though it says the word royal, it's not really royal. Everything has the word fucking royal in it. Britain's pathetic. It helps people who are drowning in the Channel, so, and indeed the North Sea and various other parts around Britain. So go and help them out if you wanted to.
Today I can update the House that we are asking all British nationals in Israel to register their presence with the FCDO so that we can share important information on the situation and leaving the country.
If I was a human being, and I might be, there are rumours, the last thing I would want is the Israeli government knowing where I was. I can't imagine anything more terrifying. Because the thing is, if the Israeli government know where you are, they can drop a bomb on you very easily. They're still doing it now, in fact. Literally, they killed 50 more people in a grain line yesterday. That's still happening. I know the world's focused on the Iran thing because it might lead to World War III. Bit scary, but they're still fucking over Gaza every day. That's something to keep an eye out on, I think.
And I can announce today that we are further also updating our travel advice to signpost border crossing points and sending rapid deployment teams to Egypt and to Jordan to bolster our consular presence near the border with Israel, which has already been supporting British nationals on the ground. Israel and Iran have closed their airspace until further notice, and our ability, therefore, to provide support in Iran is extremely...
True, but did you see the one fucking guy, or the one plane, I don't even know whose plane it was, it hardly matters, who went full fucking Leroy Jenkins on this shit? I hope, I definitely did bookmark this. Hang on, I need to scroll all the way fucking down, don't I? Hang on a second. There's look, the transponder on planes lets you track where they are in the world, right? And they're a very important thing. And there was one. Hang on a minute. I think Is it on the... Hang on, here we go. Yeah, literally track them around the world. And you can see when there's, like, restricted airspace, because, like, an entire country becomes, like, empty. Its skies are empty. It's completely not touched by aeroplanes. They're all flying around it. And there's a fantastic image. Where is it? Oh, I definitely did. Don't fucking start with me. Of Iran, that's been, like, its airspace has been completely like abandoned or whatever, and there's one plane right in the middle, which seems to be a civilian plane of some variety, but I don't know. Where is the oh, for fucking little cunt bag, where are you? I definitely did. Why have I got Jeremy Clarkson? I've just got a picture of Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know why that is. That's very strange. No, I can't fucking find it. Anyway, there was a guy in a plane that went full Leroy Jenkins and just flew over Iran. And that I found very amusing. But I found it so amusing that apparently I didn't retweet it. Oh, no, didn't bookmark it. Or if I did, it's been taken down. Which I'm very, very annoyed about. Fuck everyone.
Limited. British nationals in the region should closely monitor our travel advice for further updates.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
And Deputy Speaker, the situation remains fast moving. We expect...
See, the fact that someone followed after I was just scrolling through, wasn't even saying anything, I was just scrolling through, shows me that you're a lunatic and you're very welcome here. God bless. Here he is. Fuck yes. Thank you, chat. Boom. One bloke. One plane. Everyone else is flying the fuck around Iran. And that one cheeky cunt in the middle there's just like, nah, bruv. Let's fucking have it. Boom. Leroy Jenkins. And that is a beautiful thing. Look at that. They're even ignoring Iraq and Syria as well. Like, they're not even fucking... No one's going near that shit. And this one cheeky cunt's like, nah, I'm having it. Let's go. It's free real estate.
More strikes in the days to come. This is a moment of grave danger for the region. And I want to be clear. The United Kingdom was
also, can you stop speaking like this? This is not how you normally talk, mate. You're not a statesman. You're a grubby little fucking shyster. You're a grubby little prick who was bought by a fascist for 2 meals. Donald Trump owns you because you bought you 2 fucking meals. And he probably didn't even pay for them. They were probably paid for by the American fucking taxpayer. And yet he now owns you, you fucking bitch. Stop pretending to have gravitas. Stop speaking in hushed tones because this is very serious. And I need you to understand that I'm being very serious right now. This is important. I'm on the world stage and I matter. No, you don't. You're a cunt.
Not involved in the strikes against Iran. This is a military action conducted by Israel. It should come as no surprise that Israel considers the Iranian nuclear program an existential threat.
An existential... Hang on a minute. Can you speak?
Israel considers the Iranian nuclear program an existential threat.
Almost.
Khamenei said in 2018 that Israel was a cancerous tumour.
It is. What? It is. It's literally bombing everywhere right now. How else do you fucking describe it? It is a cancerous tumour. Yes. What do you want me to fucking say? You made me agree with the Ayatollah, a man who I would happily drag my fucking shitty nutsack over. Cunt.
That should be removed and eradicated. We have always supported Israeli security. That's why Britain has sought to prevent Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon through extensive diplomacy. We agree with President Trump when he says negotiations are
I'm sure you do agree with President Trump, you little cunt. Yes, we know.
necessary and must lead to a deal. That has long been the view, Madam Deputy Speaker, of the so-called E3, Britain, France and Germany, with whom we've worked so closely on this issue. The view of all the G7, who have backed the efforts of President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and for more than 2 decades, the cross-party view in this House. Lord Cameron of Chipping Norton and Lord Hague of Richmond led
Lord Cameron and Lord Hague, 2 former Tory leaders, and you're like, no, they've done amazing work. Yeah, like, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Did you see Banner and Tucker Carlson talking sense? Yeah, Bannon and Tucker Carlson, even if they're doing it for anti-Semitic reasons, which I suspect deep down they sort of are, they were at least talking sense that, like, it's not our job to, like, go and fight and die for Israel. Like, fuck that noise. So they're literally being outflanked to the left now by Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon. They're to the left of the current UK government on the foreign policy issue of our day. How fucking embarrassing. This is the Labour Party. This is the Socialist Party, is it? Fucking hell. You've got to say, you've got to hand it to Mossad and AIPAC and the fucking Labour Friends of Israel. They did a number on Jeremy Corbyn. They got rid of him. Because they knew he was a potential threat to Britain's support of Israel unconditionally. And they got in exactly what they wanted. Like, I think they're disgusting and I wish them nothing but terms of service. But on a purely Machiavellian level, you've got to say, superb work. Massive W to them. It hurts me to have to say it, but massive W. They got what they wanted. The most cucked, embarrassing Labour Party I've ever seen. Worse than fucking Tony Blair. Worse than Tony Blair. And that cunt invaded Iraq for Israel.
Diplomatic efforts on the issue. Baroness May of Maidenhead and the former Right Honourable Member for Uxbridge did too. And this government has continued to pursue negotiations joining France and Germany in 5 rounds of talks with Iran this year alone. Ours is a hard-headed, realist assessment.
Fuck off, you mug. What's this? Oh no. God. Okay. I don't know what he's going to say here, but by the title, nuclear proliferation is good. Imperialists don't attack nuclear armed countries. Nuclear bombs now. Fucking crikey. Okay. Let's hear him out, I guess.
We need more nuclear proliferation. Everyone should have nukes. Iran should have nukes. It sucks that countries did not get nukes earlier. Like, everyone's like, Iran's developing nukes. We have to stop them from developing nukes. Why are they developing nukes? This justifies any action that we take against them. No, Iran deserves to have nukes. They should have them. Because if they don't have nukes, then what's happening to them now is what you can do to them. You have nukes, suddenly the US and other Western countries aren't going to fuck with you. The US...
Well, ultimately, this is sort of downstream, if you will, of Western foreign policy over the last 30 years, right? What you showed the world's tyrants in invading and overthrowing Saddam Hussein, even though he was your friend and was selling you oil, not invading, but let's say interfering and overthrowing Muammar Gaddafi, who again was your friend and selling you oil, in overthrowing Assad, even though he was selling you oil, is that if you don't have nuclear weapons, even if you're nicey, even if you're friends with the West, then you sell them oil and you allow them to do everything they want, As soon as it's convenient, you're dead. Because you'll notice there are a couple of countries who I think the West would have been very, very happy to invade and overthrow. And haven't. That being Pakistan and North Korea. I think they'd have been very happy to do so. There's a reason that neither of those countries have been couped. And that's because they have nuclear weapons. So what you have shown the world, and its tyrants, is get nuclear weapons, and you're fine. Because if not, you'll either have to hide in a hole and become a meme, or they will drag your corpse through the street and beat it with sticks. The West taught the despots of the world this was true. If you've got oil, or if you're strategically important, you'd better have fucking nuclear weapons. Otherwise, you're living on borrowed time. That's just true. That's just fucking true. The West and its imperialist endeavours taught the world this, and have forced this world upon us. Because that's what imperialism does. They don't give a fuck. Evil bastards. Evil, evil bastards. Exactly. Would Ukraine have been invaded if they hadn't given up their nukes? No. They'd have had to learn how to use those nukes for a start. But let's say, let's say that was possible. Let's say the West allowed that. Yeah, they'd be fine. Because no one wants a nuclear exchange. Like, mutually assured destruction, on its face, seems too simplistic to survive in the real world. It seems too stupid a system to work. And yet, it has. Bizarrely, it's very simple, very childishly so, you might say. But it works. People don't want to get eviscerated. So you don't fuck around with nuclear armed states. At least not too much. You can play around at the edges, but you don't invade. Because that's how, glass starts to happen where there was once major cities. Who got dragged through the streets? Oh, that was Gaddafi. There is footage. I won't play it for you, it's grotesque. But there is footage of Colonel Gaddafi when he was dragged from his hiding place, beaten to death, and then his body was dragged through the streets of Tripoli. Now, Colonel Gaddafi's a piece of shit. I lose absolutely no sleep whatsoever at his death. Frankly, fuck it, lol. Can we have some lols in chat? Because Gaddafi was a piece of shit who had, torture chambers and shit. Like, he was an evil man. Funded terrorism and all sorts. A real cunt. But, if world leaders see the corpse of other world leaders dragged through the streets and beaten with sticks, live on TV for the world's edifying pleasure, they're going to go, what can we do to make that not happen to me? How do we ensure that we are watching now doesn't happen here? And there's one surefire way. Get yourself some nukes. Hasn't happened to the Kims. Hasn't happened to the military leadership in Pakistan. Hasn't happened in Russia. All places the West would love to have fucked with. And to a degree has fucked with, but hasn't invaded, hasn't couped. Because you can't. They were literally hiding Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. And the best they could do was a quick little in and out raid. They couldn't invade. So the West caused the very dynamics it now decries. Where have I heard that before? Oh, Mujahideen. The brave fighters of the Mujahideen.
The US has hundreds, thousands of nuclear bombs ready and raring to go at any moment. And they have the gall to tell one of their victim countries, you're not allowed to have nukes. Like, the idea that there's some sort of moral justification here or some sort of risk to Iran having nukes, the only risk to anyone else that comes from one of the Western powers target countries getting nuclear bombs is risk to their own geopolitical interests, risk to their own ability to coerce these countries. If Iran had nukes, not one single Israeli attack on Iran would have ever happened. The countries who shouldn't have nukes are the ones who have them right fucking now. The countries who should have nukes are the small ones who they want to coerce.
The problem is the religious nature of it, right? I don't want Iran to have nukes because their leaders are religious madfucks who are like you can't negotiate as much with, right? And that's exactly why I don't want Israel to have nuclear weapons either, because their leaders are religiously inspired lunatics. That's not good. Mutually assured destruction works on the basis that both sides don't want to die. Whereas if you have people who are so wedded to an idea that they'd rather die than have it changed in any way whatsoever, Zionism, or so wed to the idea of the Islamic Republic of Iran that they would happily glass God knows how many fucking cities in order to protect themselves, in the case of the Iranian state, it's difficult to sort of negotiate in that position. Because the assumption that both sides don't want to die isn't quite so ironclad as it would be in other places. Can you see Keith? Keith doesn't even believe in a transport policy, let alone a fucking religious conviction. He's not going to fucking do this. Do you know what I mean? Mainly because he's a massive fucking cock. Thank you, NYC guy, who says, when does Palestine get a state, question mark, along with some nukes, question mark. Well, hopefully they get a state sometime soon. I'm not sure I want nuclear proliferation, though. I get the impression that Baden Panada is making the argument that I did about the fact that the West only respects countries that have nuclear weapons, because they're the ones that you can't, hang on, but I've lost the fucking train of thought. What was I saying? Yeah, you can't bully people with nuclear weapons, right? But actually, nuclear weapons in general are bad. I'd prefer them not to have that. And that would involve the denuclearization of Israel as well. I've got no problem with any place having a civilian nuclear power supply. It's the weapons that I have a problem with. Iran has WMDs. Okay, this is interesting. It has various chemical weapons at its disposal, as always. Never use them. They keep getting pushed, though. Well, that's not... When we say WMDs, I mean, in a very technical sense, lots of things are weapons of mass destruction. It's quite a broad thing. But when we talk about WMDs, we mean, realistically, nuclear weaponry. Conventional arms are weapons of mass destruction, right? A single bomb can take down an entire tower block and kill 200 people. So conventional arms can be weapons of mass destruction. Let's not get things complicated, though. When we talk about WMDs, we are talking about nuclear power, nuclear arsenals, right? Some of the, and I'm not, but BR, I'm not going to accuse you of this, the thing I'm about to say, just to get ahead of myself here. But it's worth saying that there are people, slimy fuckers, who justified the Iraq War on the basis that Saddam Hussein had WMDs. And then after the war were like, see, he had chemical weapons. That wasn't the claim that was made. No one denied that he had chemical weapons. We knew he had chemical weapons. He had used them on the fucking Kurds. We know he had chemical weapons. Your claim were that he had nuclear weapons that could be dispatched in 45 minutes and glass London or New York or blah, 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 blah. And that wasn't true. That was a fucking lie. So let us not get confused as to what that means. When we say WMDs, we do generally mean nuclear weapons, which Iran obviously doesn't have.
Mongering over nukes is so completely ass backwards, and it's just comical that they even use it as a talking point. Like, oh, our enemies are developing nukes. Well, you have them. You're the one who attacks them. How does it make any sense for you to fearmonger about that when their very reason for getting nukes isn't to use them, it's to use them as a deterrent against you from hurting them? It's the equivalent of like a rapist complaining that women are carrying mace. It's perverse and disgusting how they use these talking points. So
What a euphemism. Good God. Or not euphemism, analogy. That's fucking crikey. The internet was a mistake, wasn't it, really? By the way, I'm not even saying the analogy doesn't work. I'm just saying, like, that's the fact that that's the place you have to take it to. Grim.
Iran should have nukes. Cuba should have nukes. North Korea should have nukes. Every single country.
Well, Cuba did have very briefly, and then North Korea already does.
Possibly at risk of being targeted by the USA, ever, or, other Western countries, ever, should get nuclear bombs immediately. Ukraine giving up their nukes? Most pathetic, idiotic decision ever. That's why you got invaded by Russia. If you're a smaller country at risk of being imperialized by any bigger country, get nukes. They have nukes, they're not giving them up. The whole reason why it's nuclear non-proliferation is because the countries that already had nukes wanted to prevent other countries from getting them so they can maintain the geopolitical advantage that having the nukes gives them. That's the only reason why it's called nuclear non-proliferation instead of like nuclear abolition.
Yeah. I'm not interested. Yeah, exactly. I'm less interested in nuclear non-proliferation. I want nuclear disarmament. Is what I'm after.
So they never wanted to give it up. So fuck that. They were like, we got ours. We can use them coercively against others. We can always use the threat of having them against others. We don't want them to have that same threat against us. Iran should have nukes. And if you support like Israel attacking Iran or the US trying to stop Iran from getting nukes or nuclear energy or anything related to nuclear anything, you're just an imperialist fucking moron. It really is that simple. You have to understand that the people who argue this sort of stuff, it's always post hoc. Their ideology is not, I have a set ideology that I abide by in every circumstance. Their ideology is, I want my country, our bloc, to do things that advantages me personally, and everything else is a post hoc justification for things that they believe further that goal. It's that simple. That's why they're against...
Well, those people do exist, but I don't think you can label every single person who opposes your particular viewpoint that way.
Iran having nukes simply because it means that country wouldn't be able to coerce Iran as it does now. Nothing more. Really, absolutely nothing more to it than that.
Well, that was a somewhat pointless video, but thank you.
Of how best to tackle this grave threat. Fundamentally, no military action can put an end to Iran's nuclear capabilities.
He's so up Trump's arse, he's even pronouncing the word nuclear wrong now. Oh, God almighty. Nuclear. I know you're like bought wholesale by the Americans, but you don't have to say the word nuclear wrong. You just don't. If he says aluminum or badminton, I'm going to lose my fucking shit.
Madam Deputy Speaker, just last week, the International Atomic Energy Agency Board of Governors passed a non-compliance resolution against Iran.
Are you going to mention that Iran...
I don't want to do this anymore!
Israel has never once complied with any fucking statute of the IAEA, you wanker. Thank you, Baron von Goxlab, who says Lammy is so soporific. True! He's even worse when he's pretending to be a statesman, though.
The first such IAEA finding in 14 years. The Director General's comprehensive report details Iran's failure to declare nuclear materials. Iran remains the only state without nuclear weapons accumulating uranium at such dangerously high levels.
Hang on, surely you don't include Israel in that, because Israel doesn't have nuclear weapons, does it, David? Surely you don't think they do, because that would mean that they're lying about having nuclear weapons. It would make them much, much, much more in contravention of international nuclear non-proliferation. Wouldn't it, David?
Its total enriched stockpile is now 40 times the limit in the JCPOA. And their nuclear program is part of a wider pattern of
Nuclear.
destabilizing activity. the government has taken firm action in response.
By the way, did you see Trump say that he didn't care what Nikki Haley says about Iran not having the nuclear weapon? Like, he's literally dismissing the opinion of his own United Nations envoy or ambassador. Like, fucking hell. He's turning into George W. Bush before our eyes. It's embarrassing.
When they transferred ballistic missiles for use in Russia's illegal war.
Tulsi Gabbard, yeah. Did I not say Tulsi Gabbard? Did I get the name wrong? What did I say? I don't know.
In Ukraine, we imposed extensive sanctions, including against Iran Air, and cancelled our bilateral air services agreement. In the face of unacceptable IRGC threats here in the...
Oh, did I say Nikki Haley? Sorry, Tulsi Gabbard. Apologies. I got my right-wing twats mixed up. I do apologise.
UK, with some 20 foil plots since 2022.
See, to be fair though, Nikki Haley was the previous UN twat. So, like, forgive me. There's only one UN ambassador that really matters though, and that's Sergei Kislitsa. He of the tiny water bottle. Praise be upon him.
2. The Crown Prosecution Service has for the first time charged Iranian nationals under the National Security Act. And we've placed the Iranian state, including the IRGC, on the enhanced tier of the new Foreign Influence Registration Scheme. Madam Deputy Speaker, a widening war would have grave and unpredictable consequences, including for our partners in Jordan and the Gulf. The horrors of Gaza worsening, tensions in Lebanon, Syria.
Who's making the horrors happen, David? And why are you still arming them?
Syria and Iraq rising, and the Houthi threat.
Houthi and the blowfish. What's the issue? What are you after, Maria? What's the beef? Give me the gravy. Can we cut the bullshit and remind everyone that BE wants every Israeli to die because his version of decolonisation? Yeah, look, I don't think the audience really need to be reminded, but in case you're wondering, Bad Empanada's a dick, yeah. I think we all know that. I think I've made that clear on many occasions. The man is an absolute SpongeBob.
Continuing. That's why the government's firm view, as it was last
October, fucking head of Director of National Intelligence,
missile attack on Israel,
whatever,
is that further escalation in the Middle East is not in Britain's interests, nor the interests of
no one wants to see that.
Israel, Iran, or the region. There are hundreds of thousands of British nationals living in the region, and with Iran,
honestly, these fucking immigrants, they get everywhere. Honestly, the British are a fucking plague. Stop the boats.
Oil producer, and 1/5 of the total world's oil consumption flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. Escalating conflict poses real risks for the global economy. As missiles rain down, Israel has a right to defend itself and its
it didn't. As missiles rain down, it literally started this shit. Israel has a right to defend. What about Iran's right to fucking defend itself? What about the Gazan people's right to defend themselves? Is it literally only Israel that has a right to defend itself? And why do you have to keep fucking saying it all the time? Like, you say it every single fucking time. Yeah, we get it. You're bought and paid for. We know.
business. But our priority now is de-escalation. Our message to both Israel...
And what happens when Israel doesn't de-escalate? What happens then? Oh, you'll just continue doing exactly what you were always going to do, which was bend over backwards for them. Keep selling them weapons, keep fucking giving them international support, keep vetoing shit at the UN. Well, actually, they don't really need to. America does that. Why are we even on the Security Council like we matter anymore? What? Look, honestly, if your Prime Minister scrabbles at the feet of the American President to pick up his fucking papers for the deal he just signed, like, you should have your seat at the UN Security Council removed. Just straight away. You don't deserve it. You've shown yourself to be fundamentally cucked. Get out. If you're going to be that much of a minge, fuck off. Leave.
Israel and Iran is clear. Step back, show restraint, don't get pulled ever deeper into a catastrophic conflict whose consequences nobody can
Israel literally started this shit.
control. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Prime Minister chaired COBRA on the situation last Friday and spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu, President Trump, and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
Well, not only did you fuck his name up, but you're now praying in aid of a man who literally melts his own citizens. Chops them up and then melts the citizens. Cool. I'm glad he has something to say about the matter. You know, the guy that's been literally doing a genocide in Yemen. Yeah, no, he definitely wants a de-escalation in Middle East tensions.
He is now, of course, at the G7 summit in Canada, discussing with our closest allies how to ease tensions.
Now, he's mainly sucking Trump's dick, actually, to be fair.
And the government has deployed additional assets to the region, including jets, for contingency support to UK forces.
Oh, so you've been escalating. Even though you're saying you want de-escalation, you're actually escalating. Cool, awesome. No, this is good. This is very grown up and sensible. Awesome.
And potentially our regional allies concerned about the escalated conflict. In the last 72 hours, my honourable friend, the Minister for the Middle East, and I have been flat out trying to carve out space for diplomacy. I have spoken to both Israeli Foreign Minister Saar and Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi.
Mohammed bin Salman, oh, for fuck's sake. Only I am allowed to do dad jokes around here, okay? Only me. Also, that's very, very anti-Semitic. How dare you?
Underlying Britain's focus on de-escalation. I have also met with the Saudi Foreign Minister, Prince Faisal. I've had calls with US Secretary Rubio, EU High Representative Callas.
Which one do you reckon laughed at him most? Prince Faisal or Marco Rubio? Which one do you reckon hates him more? Like, which one of those two do you think thinks more lowly of this creature? It's a difficult call, I think. That's a real 50-50. Thank you, NYC guy, who says, Kev, how would you reign in Israel? Is it possible? Or is this state just some Frankenstein out of the control of the powers that created it? No, it's not out of the control of anything. If America removed all of its support for Israel, it would fucking crumble. Financially, in terms of world power, it doesn't have any friends if America pulls. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting America under in any realistic circumstance to pull all of its support. But all it would need to do is, like, rein it in a bit. That was the problem of the Biden approach to this topic. It wasn't just that Israel did some bad stuff and Biden, like, wasn't strong enough. It's that Biden did nothing to stop this. They couldn't believe how much they were being allowed to get away with. And Trump's fucking turbocharged that now. He's given them the blankest of blank checks. Like, they're going this far because they know they can get away with it. If America even threatened to withdraw some of its military funding for Israel, they'd be around the table negotiating. They could stop it. They could stop this tomorrow. If they wanted to. But they don't. Because America is little attack dog in the Middle East. It's America's little fucking aircraft carrier in the Middle East. The one friend they actually have.
And my counterparts from France, from Germany, from the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Oman, Jordan, Turkey and Iraq. These conversations are part of a collective drive to prevent a spiralling conflict. Madam Deputy Speaker, this new crisis...
255, you are a mentalist.
I don't want to do this anymore!
I will get to that fucking nonsense in a second. What is this abomination? Why has this image been brought into the world? This didn't need to happen. This didn't need to happen. Honestly, this is a war crime. You and Netanyahu need to get in the fucking Hague for very different reasons, but for not entirely dissimilar reasons. This is a crime against humanity. Now on with this shite. Where was it? Hello there, Cameron, who says, funny thing is Israelis completely blame the government for all of this. Who are these mugs speaking for? Absolute pricks. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the Israeli government is not popular amongst the Israeli civilians. Benjamin Netanyahu is a phenomenally unpopular prime minister. You're alienating your sponsor. Perhaps, Mr. Peter. Oh, yeah, by the way, thank you, Mr. Peter Wood. Mr. Peter Wood, for resubscribing last night when you thought I wouldn't notice. You cheeky little scamp. Thank you, Tess MV with 100 bitty bits. We're on a hype train. If we get to the next level of the hype train, I will finger David Lammy's self-respect. Because it died 2 meals ago. Bits and sobs are how that happens.
has arisen as the appalling situation in Gaza continues.
Too soon,
This weekend,
that other uncalled
hospitals
for
in Gaza
invasion.
reported over 50 people were killed and more than 500 injured while trying to access food. This government will not take our eye off the humanitarian.
Yeah, you won't do anything about it, though. Like, you've literally just mentioned that the Israeli government murdered 50 people queuing for food. And, like, you're going to do nothing about that. You're not going to stop giving arms to the people murdering people. No, that's fine. Okay, cool, awesome. Crimes against humanity. Hugh feels exposed and humiliated. Someone edged a bad word on his arse. And it's Trump. Sigh, I suppose I'd better call the police. The police don't serve humans. They're definitely not going to serve porpoises. Yeah. Fuck the police. Can we get some 1312s in chat? Like, I feel like I haven't talked enough about how shit the police are. I haven't focused on the ICE stuff and all of that in America. Because I'm too busy, like, oh, World War III. So, you know. There's that. Thank you, Why Would a Historian? It says, too soon, that other uncalled for invasion. Exactly. The French still have not apologised for 1066. Fucking monsters. They even made a tapestry of it, the pricks, which isn't even a tapestry. And I by the way, I didn't realise this. You know, there is a, there is, and this is very, like, Kev-related news. Very Kev-coded news. Did you know there is a controversy about the Bayeux tapestry? About the number of penises. I swear to God this is true. For a long time it was thought that there were 93 penises depicted on the Bayeux tapestry.
The return of the sausages.
I love my due process. Don't take it away.
But it turns out there may be, indeed, 94 penises. There is some controversy in the historical world now. One of the stiff dick of poop. One of the bulges underneath one of the soldiers, which was thought to be a scabbard, which is where, you know, a pocket that you put a knife in, basically, or a sword of some kind. Some historians now think it might be a penis. So there might be a mysterious 94th Bayeux tapestry cock. I think they make news like that just for me. I think so. History and penises. Like, of course the Kev's going to find out about that. You're joking. Right in the wheelhouse. Thank you to Tess MV. You've got to live stream the fingering, Kev. I think that might be against terms of service, but if we ever get to like a last stream that I know is going to be the last stream I ever do, I will finger on air. Thank you, Mad Cat Scotty. Kitty Bonks for levity, much love. Thank you, Wayward Historian, for 1312 random bitties. I have no idea what that number means. What does 1312 mean, chat? I don't know. I love my due process, don't take it away. True. And thank you, Non-Binary, for gifting a sub to 1312. Again, that number keeps appearing. I don't know what it means, but it's... whatever it means, it must mean something to somebody, right? Yeah. And thank you, Dr. Phil Decker, with 100 bitty bits. Much love!
Humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. We will not stop calling for aid restrictions to be lifted and an immediate ceasefire, and we will not forget about the hostages. This morning I met with Yocheved Lefshitz and her family.
What the fuck was that pronunciation? I don't even know what noises were made there.
Whose courage and dignity in the face of Hamas barbarism was a reminder of the plight of those still cruelly held in Gaza.
Going to mention the many, many, many times more Palestinians held by Israel? Going to bring up any of their names and mispronounce them comically? Tell us about how brave they've been. Oh no, sorry, again, you believe that one side is human and the other is not.
We will not stop striving to free the hostages and end the war. Madam Deputy Speaker, our vision remains unchanged. An end to Iran's nuclear program and destabilizing regional activity.
That is a stiff dick of poo.
Israel secure in its borders and at peace with its neighbours. A sovereign Palestinian state as part of the two-state solution. Diplomacy is indispensable to each of these.
You asked AI to tidy the meme up, and this is what it produced. Hang on a minute. How the fuck? I've got a fucking beard. How the fuck did I come out looking like that? It looks more like Helena than me. Another massive AI W there, then. I'm glad we're burning the planet down for this technology. Wonderful. Rude 14th and 15th century bollock dagger. Bollock daggers were a rude joke. Usually they were not so blatant, but some were. By the way, bollock means testicle, for those who don't know. This medieval bollock dagger is carved to resemble a phallus and make the joke complete. The grip is in boxwood with a bronze tang button, whatever the fuck that means, and comes with a deep red double layer veg tan leather sheath with a fabricated brass chape. I don't know what the fuck any of that means. I'm going to read that sentence again. This grip is in a boxwood with a bronze tang button and comes with a deep red double layer veg tan leather sheath with a fabricated brass chape. Yeah, I know you can't see. There's no way I'm showing it. It's a massive cock and bollocks. There's definitely no way I can do it. The fucking link's in the chat. You can see it for yourself. There's no way I can show it on fucking stream. The blade reflects the crude and simple origins of the dagger, perfectly being strong and single-edged for both working and fighting, suitable for both 14th and 15th century. This dagger is in stock and ready to ship. The fuck is a brass chape? What is a tang button? A veg tan leather sheath. Okay, I mean, those are just noises. I don't know what the fuck any of that means. Thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to Elliot Warman, who is... You're both awesome. I don't need to explain that. You're both awesome. You look quite tasty in that picture, Kev, just saying. I'm very fuckable, absolutely.
Goals. Britain will keep pressing all sides to choose a diplomatic path out of this crisis I commend this statement to the House.
It is Wu-Tang. The Veg Tan clan ain't nothing to fuck with, alright?
Shadow Foreign Secretary Dame Priti Patel. Thank you, Madam.
Fucking Priti Patel, as if this old cunt still exists. Go away. Go away, Priti, you smug bitch.
Deputy Speaker, these are deeply dangerous times, and as the Foreign Secretary has already said, last week's IAEA report makes it abundantly clear that Iran's nuclear program has grown, with their stockpile of...
What about the reports from the IAEA on Israel? Oh yeah, they don't exist. Because they've never allowed them to go into their facilities. Let's never mention that.
enriched uranium passing 400 kg and being enriched to 60%, which it has widely been noted is a level unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons and beyond the need for any civilian use. The IAEA Director General also stated that Iran's actions and failure to cooperate has led to a significant reduction in the agency's ability to verify whether Iran's nuclear program is entirely peaceful. We share those concerns, and the reasons why Iran must never obtain nuclear weapons are clear.
Nuclear! They're both doing it! America it just infects Britain constantly. It's not enough that we've got a fucking McDonald's and a Starbucks on every street corner, and that Walmart owns all the fucking supermarkets, and that America literally owns our government. They even their words, even the way they pronounce things. Nuclear. Like it. Nuclear. It's really not that difficult. It's America is a cancer, much like Israel. America and Israel are a cancerous double team. You are a lump on both tits.
The Iranian regime is a prolific state sponsor of terrorism with a stated intention to annihilate the world's only Jewish state.
What the fuck are we doing? Why are we okay with ethno-states? When did this happen?
Given these concerns and the clear threat Iran poses, not only to Israel, but to the wider regional stability, Israel has the right to act in self-defense to degrade Iran's nuclear infrastructure.
Nuclear!
As well as posing a threat to Israel, Iran poses a direct threat to the United Kingdom and our interest.
What fucking threat does Iran pose to what? Stop this. Honestly, this is starting to feel genuinely like Iraq-esque. What fucking threat do Iran pose to us? Don't get me wrong, the Iranian government is scum. I'm not fucking capping for that shit, right? Iran are fucking awful. The Iranian government are awful. The Iranian people are perfectly fine like anyone else. But the Iranian government are scumbags. But what threat does the Iranian nation pose to us? Its rockets can't even fucking reach. Did you see they're like, oh, they're going to be able to bomb London? How? The longest distance rocket they have goes about 2,000 kilometres. We are 4,500 kilometres from Iran. They can't even get halfway to us. They are of no threat to us whatsoever. They have no intent on doing anything to us. It's fucking embarrassing. They're banging the drums of war so much. Fucking tragic shit, man. What is this?
Chief, I'm not buying it. With all our satellites, there's no way anybody could possibly have nuclear bombs that we would know about. Nuclear! What's that? Sorry.
Okay, thank you. It was Priti that went to Israel and May fired her, right? Indeed, yes. You'd think that would be something that you would mention as a conflict of interest. The fact that she went for secret talks with members of the Israeli government without telling the British government and was essentially fired for doing sort of espionage, I guess? A little bit of cheeky espionage, maybe? But now she's the shadow foreign secretary, so that's okay. That's good. Gets access to a certain amount of classified documentation, which I'm sure is fantastic. I mean, in a way, it sort of doesn't matter because there's no way that the Israeli government don't have access to all of our sensitive documentation. So, in a way, it kind of doesn't matter that she's in that position, but in a way, it sort of definitely does as well. So, thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to Executioner. Much love to you both.
The Minister for the Middle East stated in April in a written parliamentary answer that Iran's nuclear programme has never been more advanced and threatens international peace.
Right, I'm putting a fucking thing on the screen. It's annoying me now. Right, you keep mispronouncing it all the fucking time. So I'm going to put a phonetic on the screen for everybody. Right? Where are we? Text. I want text. Boom. Right. We're going to go phonetic with this shit. Nuclear. Nuclear. Okay. Yeah. There we go. So that everyone's aware of it. There we go. Nuclear. Nuclear. Very straightforward.
Peace and security. And earlier this month, the Strategic Defence Review stated that Iran's escalating nuclear programme presents a risk to international security and the global non-proliferation architecture. With that in mind, can the Foreign Secretary tell us what discussions he has had with the IAEA and give us his assessment on how close Iran was to having nuclear weapon capabilities that could strike Israel and our interests in the region? Given the report from the IAEA earlier this week, what direct bilateral discussions have government ministers had with their Israeli counterparts on this matter in the last few days prior to the action that was undertaken last week? He has spoken about conversations since the strikes commenced on Friday, but what discussions took place in the days preceding? Can the Foreign Secretary update us on the discussions with our partners in the region before the strikes on Friday? And since, for example, what discussions he's had with our friends in Bahrain in light of the ceasefire agreement and with Jordan in light of the previous airspace violations by Iran? Are these discussions purely diplomatic or do they cover defensive military planning? Last week on the 10th of June, during his statement, the Middle East minister said that they were in contact with the Israeli government that day. As that was after the IAEA report on the 9th of June, can the Foreign Secretary say during those discussions whether the nuclear threat from Iran and the IAEA assessment was discussed, or were they discussed in other matters? We also know from recent statements from the minister that relations between this government and Israel have become strained since last July. So what message does the Foreign Secretary have to all those...
I wonder if it's because of all the genocide they've been doing. And how that makes the British government look bad because we are supporting... Well, I say we, the British government, are supporting a genocide.
...who are concerned that constructive dialogue and diplomacy with Israel is not taking place. And with British nationals in Israel and the wider region, what efforts are underway to expeditiously help those who want to return to the UK to come back?
They can get in a rubber dinghy like the rest of them. That's the only way in. No safe and legal routes for anybody, okay? Everyone gets in a dinghy.
And while the Foreign Secretary cannot rightly give operational details to the House, can he confirm if contingency plans have been updated recently for the evacuation of British personnel and assets from Iran? At the G7, will the Prime Minister be having substantive bilateral discussions with President Trump on this matter? On Iran's strikes at Israel, these are indiscriminately targeting civilians, and the whole House should condemn Iran for doing this.
I do condemn Israel for targeting civilian areas in Gaza for the last fucking 2 years. Yeah.
The UK has previously supported Israel in defending them from missile and drone attacks. So can the Foreign Secretary confirm if the UK has offered military intelligence and other forms of assistance to our Israeli allies?
We've literally been doing the Akrotiri flights every day, and you fucking know that. This is just pathetic fucking, like, Israel virtue signalling. Although it's a lack of virtue. Vice signalling, I guess?
Allies in countering these attacks from Iran. The German Chancellor has offered this and is providing assistance to Israel. Has the UK made such an offer too? It is right that UK military capabilities have been increased in the region over the weekend. So can the Foreign Secretary tell the House whether he's prepared to take any retaliation, prepared to tackle any retaliation from Iran and its proxies, including the Houthis? Madam Deputy Speaker, although Iran's nuclear capabilities have been degraded, they are, as we know, in regular contact on nuclear issues with China and Russia, and have been for some time. Has the Foreign Secretary assessed the involvement of Russia and China that it may have had in supporting Iran's nuclear program to get to where it is today? Is he concerned that they will support Iran to rebuild their capability with materials and expertise following Israel's actions? And is he looking at applying sanctions, new sanctions, to constrain Iran's ability to rebuild, advance and accelerate their nuclear ambitions? Turning to the direct threats that Iran poses to our soil, the Foreign Secretary has rightly mentioned the plots foiled, the recent attacks, the recent arrests, and putting Iran on the enhanced tier of furs. Can he give an assurance about work taking place across government over the last few days, including with the Home Office, the police, counter-terrorism operations and intelligence services, to tackle any retaliation that Iran, the IRGC and those...
So we don't need to condemn Israel for starting it, just what can we do if they retaliate? Because apparently they literally don't have the right to self-defence now. It is now official, both government and opposition policy, that Iran does not have the right to defend herself.
On its behalf might direct towards us. Has the threat risk level been reassessed? Is extra support being provided to secure synagogue schools and parts of the Jewish community in the UK? We all want to see peace and stability in the region where Iran, who is responsible for so much bloodshed, is now taking place.
Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. This Mossad shill bitch, and that's what she is, let's not be fucking silly about this, that's exactly what she is, she's an asset of the Israeli government, right? Is now like, oh, Iran, which is guilty of so much bloodshed, unlike Israel, which is super awesome and cool and we should give weapons to.
So can the Foreign Secretary finally update the House on the ongoing steps being taken to secure the return of the hostages from Hamas captivity, the work to get more aid into Gaza, and efforts to bring about a sustainable ceasefire? Foreign Secretary.
Well, I'm very grateful to the Shadow Foreign Secretary.
Why?
For her remarks, the cross-party support that I sensed in her remarks, and for the questions that I will certainly endeavour to answer. She asks about our contact with the IAEA. I can confirm that I spoke to the Director Grossi just a few days ago, and certainly before the action last week, and discussed his report. She asks what the latest is on that, and she will know that the assessment was that the
and her suit is stupid. That is
enriched
true.
uranium stockpile was now standing at 8,413 kilograms, more than 40 times the JCPO limit, and the total high enriched uranium stockpiles.
Again, I don't want to have to repeat myself, but Israel is in contravention of every single nuclear fucking rule. Because it doesn't even officially accept that it has nuclear weapons. It has never had an IAEA inspection of any of its facilities. We don't even know how many nuclear weapons they have.
Was considered 9 significant quantities of high enriched uranium. She asked then what coordination we had given that information, and I want to reassure her that I have been in close touch, working in concert with my...
Eric, they're not going to mention genocide because A, they're bought and paid for by the Israeli government, and secondly, they've forgotten about Gaza now. Now it's all about Iran. They've killed loads of people in Gaza. Well, they've moved on to another set of brown people they can murder. It's fine, but you don't call them cancer. How dare you?
French and German colleagues over this period, and coordinating the three of us, working across our political directors, but also as foreign ministers in our messaging to the Iranian regime. And can I confirm to her that we will be speaking to the Iranian regime again in the coming hours to raise those concerns and heighten what I said about the need for diplomacy at this time. She asks quite properly about our long-standing relationship with Bahrain. And can I confirm that the Minister for the Middle East has spoken to Bahrain? She asks about our long-standing relationship with Jordan, and can I confirm that, of course, I've spoken to Foreign Minister Safadi in the last few days, and we continue to coordinate with our Jordanian friends and offer whatever support we can at this time. She asks, obviously, about our ongoing relationship with Israel. She will know that our relationship with Israel remains a complex and intense one, and as
it's certainly intense when they're fucking you, yeah.
She would expect, I have spoken to Foreign Minister Saar on numerous occasions, and of course spoke to him again. He was in a bunker when I spoke to him on
Bitch.
Saturday, separated from his family. I offered him condolences, and of course, as you would expect, the United Kingdom and its...
Did you offer condolences to any of the Iranians that were hiding from bombs? Oh no, sorry, I forgot. Sorry, no. Israelis, human. Other Palestinians, Iranians, not human. That's the official British government position now, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Israel in these times, of course, coordinate and work together. We have disagreements, of course, and we've discussed that over this dispatch box, particularly about the humanitarian situation in Gaza.
You know, the humanitarian situation, which is totally not a way of saying genocide at all. That's fine.
But we recognise that there are many Israelis, as we speak, in their bunkers, that there have been 21 casualties over this last period and over 500 people injured. There is a...
How many Palestinians have been killed, David? Can we just confirm that? Because I think it's a little bit more than the 21 every single day. Isn't it? David. Do you want to bring up those people? Do you want to name any of them by name? Tell us a sob story about them? Try and get us on board with them? Try and humanise them in any way whatsoever? I suspect not.
A sense of trauma, compounding trauma in Israel, and I want to reassure her that we recognise that. Of course, the Prime Minister is discussing these issues with President Trump at this time, and I know the G7...
What, even with his cock in his mouth? How's he getting the words out? His diction must not be very good.
7 meeting is going on as we speak. I want to reassure her also about our contact with hostages. That's why I was meeting with hostage families just today and undertaking to raise that issue again in this place. And what they asked me was to ensure that with this crisis we do not take our eye off the situation in Gaza, and that's why I made it a part of my statement. And she quite rightly asks about state threats from the Iranian regime and the IRGC. And can I refer her to the work of Sir John Hall? He has found gaps in our legislation framework in relation to how we deal with these state threats. I'm pleased about the arrests that have been made recently, but we will be coming forward with the appropriate legislation on dealing with state threats from the IRGC in the coming months.
Select Committee Chair Dame Emily Thornbury. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's completely understandable that Israel feels threatened by a bellicose neighbour with uranium mines and a nuclear program.
Fuck off, Thornbury, you useless bastard. You didn't even get a part of the fucking government. You sold her your soul and you didn't even get into the government. You're sub-Lammy. That's how bad you are. You sold your soul for nothing. Shut the fuck up.
But the rest of the world is unanimous in saying that the way to deal with Iran is through discussion, negotiation, and a nuclear agreement.
Nuclear!
Madam Deputy Speaker, there once was such a deal, thanks to the extraordinary efforts of Baroness Cathy Ashton, amongst others. But that deal was derailed by President Trump, egged on by Israel. And now...
They're all fucking doing it. It's infuriating. Because this never used to be this way.
Lately, even President Trump has come to the view that the solution has to be a nuclear agreement with Iran, secured through discussion and diplomacy. And yet in the middle of that, Israel has decided that the solution is a regional war. Does the Foreign Secretary agree that Britain must remain firm with the rest of the world, urging both Israel and Iran to step back from a conflict? Military action can only predict one thing. It will not stop the Iranian nuclear program, but it will ensure the deaths of innocent...
She pronounced it right that one time, so she knows how it is pronounced.
...on both sides.
Foreign Secretary.
Well, she's right to put on record our thanks to former EU High Representative Baroness Ashton for all her work to get that JCPOA agreement. And it was also the work of the previous government and successive leaders in the party opposite that worked to secure that agreement. And it's hugely important that we get back to diplomacy. It is right to say, though, that the assessment of the IAEA is that there has been deception from the Iranian regime. And how do you account for having stockpiles that are 40 times over what they should be if you were sticking to the agreement? And that is why we must come together, yes, calling for restraint, but we do need diplomatic action. Iran cannot have nuclear capability, full stop.
Spokesperson Callum Miller.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm grateful to the Foreign Secretary for advance sight of his statement, and to him, ministers and officials from the Department for their efforts to support British citizens in the region. People across the UK have watched with horror as war has broken out between Israel and Iran. And as we consider the UK...
That's a rather neutral way of putting it. War has broken out between Israel and Iran. No, Israel started a war. Israel took unilateral aggressive action against yet another state. Not even the first one that they've done that to this month. It's still occupying parts of its neighbours. It's still doing a genocide. But, you know, it's just... Yeah, war just kind of happened. Who can really say how it started? Who knows?
Response, let me begin with key principles on which I hope this House will agree. The State of Israel has a right to exist and to defend itself in line with international law.
No country has a right to exist as such. It has a right to defend itself, sure. But there's no country has a right to exist as such. That's not really a thing. Because, you know, countries come and go, don't they? Much larger, more powerful nations than Israel have come and gone. And will do so in the future. That's just a fact.
We stand against Iran's stated goal to wipe out the State of Israel and its use of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps to support global terrorism and foster regional instability.
There is literally one country doing fucking regional instability right now. And it's a country that does begin with I. And doesn't end with Rak or Ran. Let's get real. It is real. I'm very funny. I'm very clever.
So
honestly, chat, I'm so clever and awesome. You should give me money. You should. It's almost like a moral imperative at this point to honour me by giving me lots of. Honestly, you'd be doing yourself a favour, okay? In the form of bits and subs, and memberships, super chats. I'm a sensible boy.
Will the Foreign Secretary go further to protect UK residents, including Iranian and Jewish communities, from IRGC-sponsored terrorist actions on our soil, and finally prescribe the IRGC? Iran's ambition to create...
Yeah, it's really... The terrorists you need to focus on are the IRGC, not the Israeli government at all. The British political system is filled with such wankers, really.
The nuclear weapon is a grave risk to the UK's interests
At least
and
he can say
Israel's
nuclear
survival.
properly.
But successive governments have been right to seek to contain that risk through diplomatic means. The Netanyahu government's unilateral military action, which it took against the advice of allies and without forewarning, has severely undermined those efforts. It was ill-judged.
Okay, but why isn't what they're doing terrorism? Why isn't what they're doing terrorism? Why? Can you explain that to me, please, Mr. Lib Dem, fucking piss diamond man? Why is it that the IRGC are terrorists, but Israel aren't for starting the war? Thank you, Super Tiny Bob. It says there's a couple of quid. Well, thank you very much. I will take that and spend it on heroin. Thank you. I won't. Obviously, look at me. I'd be the fattest fucking smackhead you've ever seen in your life. Thank you, Dr. Phil Decker with 100 bits, who says, Provisional Pay Pig Army en route. I like that series of words in that order. That is delicious.
Reckless and not the behaviour of a responsible ally. Can the Foreign Secretary confirm that the Prime Minister will press at today's G7 summit for a return to negotiations with the UK included alongside the US?
Why would the UK even matter anymore? Like, we pretend, right? We do this thing in Britain where we pretend like our input really matters, and it doesn't. Now, that, by the way, is not being used by me as the cynical thing of doing the, why should we suspend these arms licenses? It's not like it's going to make that much of a difference to Israel. Okay, so what? We should still do the right thing, right? You should still do the right thing. But the idea that we can go into these negotiations as if anything we do actually fundamentally matters. Like, look at it this way, okay? When Benjamin Netanyahu went to the United States, Trump pushed his chair in for him, behind him. Like he was trying to get into his fucking knickers on a night out or something, right? Like they were on a fucking date. When Starmer turns up, he has to, like, rummage around on the floor like a little monkey boy, picking up the papers for the incontinent fucking brain-dead super gimp. We are not a big power. We should stop pretending to be one. We should stop spending money as if we're one. We're bankrupting ourselves and watching the country crumble while we spend more money on more nuclear weapons. Nuclear. Fucking nuclear.
Iran has now retaliated with its own strikes and may look to respond further, including by threatening the assets of other states in the region. Can the Foreign Secretary confirm that the sole purpose of UK military deployments will be to protect our assets, personnel and citizens, and that he will not allow us to be drawn into this conflict between Israel and Iran? What specific steps is the Foreign Secretary taking to ensure that while the focus is on this crisis...
Phantom of Black. Nicely done.
We do not lose sight of the need to secure the unconditional release of the hostages held by Hamas and to maintain scrutiny on the extreme actions of the Netanyahu government towards Palestinians in Gaza, East Jerusalem and the West Bank, and so as to protect the possibility of a two-state solution. Will the UK government heed the call of all 72 Liberal Democrat MPs for the immediate recognition of Palestine?
Okay, a based ending. A based ending to an otherwise absolutely pointless monkey fuck of a question, or statement, or response, or whatever you want to call it.
Foreign Secretary.
Well, I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman for his remarks and the tone with which he made them, because I think in matters of war, it's always important that this House can speak with one voice.
Why? Hang on, whoa, time out, dickhead. What do you mean that we speak with one voice? Why? Why should there only be that? You know that's not the case in the country, right? You know there are differing opinions in the country about what Britain should do, who should be our allies, who should be our enemies, whether we even need to be involved in any of this shit to begin with, whose side we're on, whether we're on a side or not. There's a plethora of opinions in the country. So why the fuck should Parliament have one opinion on anything? Kind of fucked up thing is this? This is the Westminster bubble is such a fucking intense shithole of a place. They think this is a good idea, that this supposed debating chamber of our democracy doesn't have any kind of debate in it when it comes to war. Apparently that's just fine. We don't need to have any representation of different opinions. No, we should all just have one opinion, which is war is good, we need to do war. Military industrial complex, yippee!
Issue of prescription. Can I refer him to the work of Sir John Hall and remind him that what we're dealing with are state threats. And to be absolutely clear, no country in the world is deploying more state threats across the world than Iran.
What are you talking about? Israel literally started this war, having started wars with fucking Lebanon and Syria and the entirety of Palestine. It's occupying parts of its neighbour's territory now. It's doing a genocide right now. It's even trying to prevent its own citizens from leaving. It's destabilising the entire region and the entire world. And yet somehow it's Iran that's the real problem here. What the fuck? I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Iran isn't a malign actor in a number of ways. It does fund some fucking awful groups. But the idea that Iran is the big threat here is fucking stupid, just on the face of it. God damn.
That was why it was important to look at this issue specifically. He has found gaps in our architecture. We are looking at those gaps and we will come forward with our plans shortly. He rightly talks about the important work of negotiation and diplomacy and what sits behind that. It's absolutely right that we continue to work with France and Germany, and I want to reassure
No, we need to not work with France and Germany. This is not the Brexit I voted for.
That work has continued.
I didn't vote for Brexit, but...
And was continuing alongside, if you like, a parallel track alongside the work of...
Yes, support the RNLI.
Steve Witkoff,
Fuck yes.
And we applauded that work. And that
Steve Witkoff's a lunatic. The fact that you would, again, fucking name drop a cunt like that, sort yourself out, mate. Sort yourself the fuck out.
Effort to get to a negotiated diplomatic solution, but it is a solution that will require Iran giving up its nuclear capability.
Firstly, it doesn't have a nuclear capability, and secondly, nuclear.
It will involve Iran getting serious about what those centrifuges under mountains are really for. And we're pretty serious. We're very serious about that.
Yeah, we're a bit serious.
And that's what we were insistent with. And that's why we said there would be a snapback. And we would impose very severe sanctions. Those sanctions would hit once again Iran if we didn't see compliance. And of course, he puts on record his views on Gaza, and we have exchanged that many times across this chamber.
So you're not even going to address the point of becoming accepting the Palestinian state, recognising the Palestinian state. May also notice that once again Nigel Farage is not in the chamber. What a shock.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I welcome the work of the Foreign Secretary and the diplomatic actions that have taken place so far. Israel's unprovoked attack on Iran has opened yet another dangerous front and risks dragging the entire region into a wider war with devastating consequences for ordinary people across the Middle East, people who have already borne decades of conflict and intervention. Given that Israel's claims have been challenged even by US intelligence assessments, can the Foreign Secretary assure this House that no UK military support, whether direct or indirect, will be given without the clear and explicit consent of this House, and that this government has learned the hard lessons of Iraq and Libya and will not repeat them? Foreign Secretary.
What can I say to the Honourable Lady? Categorically, the UK is not involved in Israel strikes.
That's a lie. We know that's a lie.
We do have an important regional role. We have UK assets, of course, in Cyprus. We have them in...
which you have been using to aid and abet Israel in both the genocide of Gaza and now its hostile, aggressive war against Iran. We know this to be true. Stop lying.
Bahrain, we have them in Qatar, and we have a role, an important role in Operation Shader, where we're dealing from terrible threats to us and our allies from Daesh and other things. So we have important relationships in the Gulf and the wider region, and that's why my honourable friend, the Defence Secretary...
But I thought we supported democracy and not all of these despots. Oh, sorry, I forgot they own all of the football teams now, so we can't even complain about it, can we?
Secretary has, as a precautionary step, sent further military aid to the area.
So, Julie Lewis.
Until the people of Iran rise up and overthrow the dreadful...
I don't give a fuck about you, you're a cunt, mate. Let's get to someone good. Oh my god, look at his fucking face. Do we have a Jumbly Crumbly Concretes anywhere? I don't know who this lad is. Oh god. Oh no. Come on. Fucking Jumbly Crumbles has got to be around somewhere, hasn't he? Where is he? Is that him? Hang on. No, that's not him. He definitely did speak, didn't they? Or if I imagine that. They wouldn't have edited him out, would they? Maybe they would. Oh, here he is. Okay, right.
Working in concert with our partners in France and Germany on this issue for so long, and it's remained a cross-party issue.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Mein Führer!
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is obviously a dangerous and perilous time, and we need to do everything we can to bring about a ceasefire between Israel and Iran.
Yeah.
Can the Foreign Secretary assure us that no British weapons or components are being used to bomb Iran, which could be used...
There's definitely no way he can actually give you that guarantee, honestly.
This is a pretext for saying that Britain is directly involved. And what assurances has he had from the government of Israel that they will not use or even consider using in any way the nuclear weapons that they possess?
Well, let me say that we've got the most robust export licensing regime in the world, and I'm proud.
That's not true, obviously. Also, relatively tame from Jadolf Korbler. The Jam Man, relatively restrained. Just asked, I mean, a perfectly sensible question, but a bit of a nothingy kind of endeavour. Although I suppose this was after like an hour of debate, so like they probably, the points he wanted to make have probably been made. So.
Out of that,
just ask a more practical question.
And it was a matter that this House voted on just a few years ago under the last government, and he will know that we made a decision to restrict arms sales to Israel that could be used in Gaza.
Utterly useless. Utterly fucking useless.
And I'd refer him to the statements that I've made about Iran's nuclear intent.
Okay, one last time. Nuclear. You prick.
Work of the IEA and the huge global concern and the UN resolution that we secured, the UK.
Okay, how many UN resolutions has Israel fucking broken? Is it not in compliance with right now?
Did so much to secure just last week Thursday.
Amanda Martin.
Is there anything else worth bothering with here? Who's this lad? Don't know who you are, you cunt. No, I don't know who he is. No, random bald cunt. David Lamoyd. Don't know who he is. Don't know. Who are you? Supply teacher. Don't know who he is. Oh God, they're all such nothing burgers. Oh, is this one of the what do you call it? I've forgotten what they're fucking called now. Free Palestine MP people.
Text.
Ayub Khan.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I concur with the Foreign Secretary and his view that this can only be resolved through diplomacy, and that's the only way we're going to get a resolution. But also, I know that the Foreign Secretary is a learned friend, a fellow colleague at the bar. He will understand international law. Does he agree that the Caroline Principles were not
independent alliance? Thank you. Yeah.
Engaged, which allowed Israel to conduct that strike? Does he not smell a rat with the timing of what's happening?
Foreign Secretary.
Well, at this dispatch box, I speak as Foreign Secretary, not as a lapsed member of the bar who qualified in 1995.
Jim Shannon.
Okay, but you know it's wrong. Also, we've got to hear from Jim Shannon. What did we describe him as the other day? A homophobic Pokemon.
Speaker, and can I thank the Secretary of State very much for his statement. The role of the IRGC on life in Iran over the last number of years has been human rights abuses, religious freedom abuses, gender abuses, and the fact that acts of global extremism and terrorism often have their roots and support in Iran. And the war in Israel is a prime example of this. Anyone who pretends that Iran...
Well, I can definitely take this man's opinion very seriously and know that he is a neutral observer of these events, even though he's got a literal fucking Israeli pin on his lapel. Very cool.
With their nuclear potential are in any way...
He can at least pronounce nuclear correctly, albeit in an indiscernible accent.
And bystander are being deliberately dishonest. Will the Foreign Secretary commit again to working with allies such as the US to minimise bloodshed and ensure that Israel is able to remain safe and free from all attacks? Thanks so much.
Foreign Secretary.
I mean, they literally started it. I don't know what else to say. Jim Shannon, as always, a genuinely pointless human being. Anyway, on that bombshell. On that bombshell. I'll leave you for the evening. I will cover the thing that you see on the screen there. There's initial hearing at the High Court for Mo Chara, who is the real criminal, the real terrorismo, who has committed the evil crime of being in a rap group. He's one of the trio from from Ireland first and foremost, and from Kneecap, the rap collective, if you'll allow me to be disgustingly white about him. Yes. He's at the High Court tomorrow for potentially terrorism-related nonsense because he waved a flag, as you do. So I'll give a cheeky little coverage to whatever the fuck happens tomorrow. I don't know. Like, it's such a laughable thing, really, that this is even going to court because of a drummed-up bullshit, like, fucking right-wing hate campaign. I don't even know what's going to happen. Presumably the state are going to try and go through with it, but I mean, seems like a bit of a nothing burger in all honesty. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll cover that tomorrow with you. There'll probably be more strikes, such things overnight. So we'll have all of the fallout from that fucking nonsense. Although hopefully not literal fallout, in that I hope Israel doesn't use nuclear weaponry overnight, or indeed ever, would be ideal. It's so unfair that Logan has such rich, thick hair. That is true. Absolutely, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Honestly, you could fill a pillow with this shit. You could make so many socks out of this, and it's now long enough that I can actually tie it in a knot. Yeah. Well, I can just, boop, there you go. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Luscious locks, delicious beard, massive penis. The perfect trio, if you ask me. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow. Edit the video, which means I'll then go to customization. Who is going on YouTube? As far as I can see, just Voosh, so I'll send you over there. Enjoy some thick stack goblins. Who is going on Twitch? Oh, by the way, I realised today that I'm actually banned from DJ Mule's channel. I went to check out, like, he was just on earlier, and I was like, oh, I'll see what he's up to. And I'm literally banned. I can't even fucking view his channel. Because he's a bitch. We'll go over to Zakap. We haven't been over to Zakap in a cheeky minute, so we'll go over there. Go and say hello to them, and stay beautiful, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for your support. Honestly, it means the world to me. And yeah, hopefully, if the world hasn't ended overnight, I'll be back tomorrow. Probably with some PMQs. That'll be horrible. Stay tuned for that. Free Palestine, and no pass around.